What's going on, everyone? There was just a TWL quarterfinal game for Season 18 between Asseror and Ulda, two really good players, so I thought I would give the series a quick commentary because might as well, and the games look pretty interesting, just because it went to 3 games, so spoiler, spoiler alert, I guess. But I'll quickly tab out and get the factions, like the pick and ban, so quarterfinal, so I'm not sure who was the higher seed, I guess probably Ulda, but it could have also been Asseror. It just depends. I don't really remember. So let's go look at this. Okay, so uh, first was Pool 3, so Syracuse, Sparta, Pergamon, Athens, ODK, Samaria, Seleucid, Egypt, Nabatea, Macedon, and Colchis all in this pool. And Ulda was banning first, so he banned Colchis and Macedon, two of the strongest factions, right off the bat. Again, the way it works is you ban two, other player bans two, then you pick, and then the other player picks. And then you rotate who bans first every game. Honestly, it's worked out really well. Like, the ability to ban 4 factions means that you kind of get to a place with the pools where, like, picking first, you get to pick the best faction available. But of course, the second player is not going to allow some of the stronger factions to be on the board, right? And then player 2 gets the option to counter pick, which is really strong because you can pick a faction that may not be the best on paper, but it hard count like more counters the faction that the player 1 picks. And honestly, we found really balanced matchups this way. If people know what they're doing with the pick ban, it's totally fine. So Ulda banned Colchis and Macedon, two strongest factions in the pool. Um, so that's fine. Asseror then banned Nabatea and ODK, so banning kind of weak factions that probably nobody wants to play, which just means he's keeping factions on the board. And since he's picking second, he wants to say, okay, I want to keep as many good counterpick factions as possible available. Ulda did pick Sparta, though, which I think is kind of a throw. Sparta can be good, but the rules are 8 melee, 5 same for Javcav, or HA. So Sparta's not really the strongest, so I'm a bit surprised by that, but they do have good boxing potential. So we'll see what Ulda picks for his army. Asera picks Syracuse, and there we go. So that'll be this game. So let's get right into it. Syracuse definitely just stronger, but Sparta has some options as well, depending on how you choose to play it. He goes for elite spam. Um, so Asera army quickly is pretty straightforward. It's just heavy infa and just gonna win the infantry fight because you have swords. So he has thorax sword, Sam Knight, thorax sword, and 2 more thorax sword, or one more thorax, 2 more thorax swords. So 3 Sam Knights, 4 thorax swords, 1 Thurio spear, 2 pikes, 3 slingers, Hippeus Lancer Gen, 4 Javcav. Very standard army, not very standard because of the lack of cav, but because again you're against Sparta who has such shit cav, you can just play the infantry war and try to win that way, and that's what he's going for. The risk here is that if Sparta goes for like something like Gorgo skirmishers or Rhodians even, then you're in trouble because you're not going to be able to get to them. But he hasn't gone for that, so it's okay. 4 Tarentines also on the field for Sparta. You basically always want to max out your Tarentines in these Greek matchups. They're just really strong. And then you have Helot Slingers 3, 4, so a bit of a slinger advantage, but not huge, but could be important. And then Elite Spam, basically Royal Spartan, 1, 2, 3, 4 Royal Spartans with a Spartan Hoplite, a bunch of Periwickoi Spears for support, 4 Periwickoi Spears, and then 2 Citizen Cav with the 4 Tarentines. So a bit underwhelming. Of course, he can bust through the front line with these guys, so if he can hold with the Periwickoi Spears the numbers of Syracuse, these 4 Royal Spartans plus the 1 Spartan Hoplite can maybe kill everything. There's a lot of Thorax Swords on the field that aren't going to do too much, but with these pikes, it's going to be kind of hard. Just there's no counter to the pikes really. He also has 2 militia hoplites, mention them. But I think with his overwhelming numbers, you just ignore the royals as long as possible, kill the Periwikois, and then just surround. Should be your goal here in these games. And he's already doing that by spreading out Asser to maximize his ability to attack the flanks, ignoring these guys in the center. Ulda just says, fuck it, I'm gonna run right up. Asser just gives a mass attack order. This is a bit risky. Oh. Kind of dodged it. No, he loses 8 men. So he didn't dodge it, so this was not worthy. He should have just committed. So that wasn't worth it. I would have committed for the slinger there. At least you kill the slinger off. That would be decent, actually, because then your 4 slingers would be a huge threat. These 4 Helot slingers need to start getting some action. I would have brought Gorgos. I would have sacrificed 2 of these Periwickoi Spears, made them Spartan youths or something, and tried to get 4 Gorgos, because the Gorgos are insanely strong. And they could just start ripping apart the Thorax Swords, for example. They're gonna get some rear shots here though, which is nice. Any damage will matter. Rear shots on Samnites are good shots because we'll avoid the shields, obviously. These guys have pretty big shields. But yeah, I mean, Asseror just trying to flank. Ulda not letting the flanking happen so much. We're just gonna triple a little bit. Finally looks like they agree to fight more over here. Again, kind of still retreating here, trying to flank to the left here. Shots still coming in from the slingers. Any shots are just good value because the slingers are cheap. And you can't really get to the flank because there's so much infantry for Ulda. Or for Asseror, sorry.
As you command.
Royal Spartans taking some shots. They won't really appreciate that. But it is in the... Well, yeah, some of these are rear shots. They're going to start to drop, and he needs to just get into combat. He doesn't have the easiest way to get into combat, though. Combat will start, so kind of fine. And the Royal Spartans will just dominate this fight. I mean, no doubt about it, but it's not going to be cost-effective domination. So he needs to put something, do a little bit more to make these fights even better. You can see Asseror just gets the pikes in here, and now he can screen off this Royal pretty effectively. But they are getting the better of this fight early on, and now the Thuriosphere is even getting some nice rear shot, or right-sided shots. Some nice play from Asseror here. Semites are dropping quickly though, real quickly. These Royal Spartans would be doing perfectly if it wasn't for the pikes and this missile fire. Even the slinger fire is pretty bad, just gonna be friendly fire. Gets this root charge in with the Citizen Cav, taking advantage of a little gap here. So trying to maybe just route these two units, but the pikes are still full, so this route's not going to come through very effectively. Royal Spartan's going to kill off these guys easily, but over here, this is where you're going to get some joy, killing off these Paroquet Spears. So Ulda just has to try to avoid these fights as long as possible. But these Samnites are really dropping. I just wish he wasn't shooting into the backs of his own Royal Spartans here. That's doing so much friendly fire. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Let these Royal Spartans cook. Shoot Cav. Royal Spartans getting in, so he's actually getting in a good fight here because he's getting the Royal Spartans in many places at once before there's much action on the flank. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 swords out of the fight. Only these two swords can be claiming to do anything kind of useful. What he really wants now is to get a Paroquet Spear in on this unit, right? Because now he can disengage his Royal Spartan and he doesn't have to worry about this fight anymore because there are two swords that are going to flank, and if he's staying engaged here, Slinger Fire, Pila, flank and rear charges will come in on this Royal Spartan. So he wants to get this Paroquet Spear, engage this Thurios. You want to keep this Thurios engaged so it can't just throw Pila. But you don't want the Royal Spartan to have to kill it all the way to 0 men because that's just going to take forever. Citizen Cav dropping very quickly. So not great for Ulda, because once these Payas Lancers are the dominant force on the field, it will be very hard to stop them. And also the Tarentine fight, crucial. The Tarentine fight in these Greek faction battles, absolutely critical. Let's see the numbers, 53, 39, 59, 39. So advantage for the side of Ulda at the moment, and these Tarentines are not really fighting at the moment. Now again, Royal Spartan's getting in, getting some good engagements. Here's only a Spartan hot plate, so it's not going to be a great fight. Wait for this Royal Spartan to just win. Definitely the play. Citizens kind of dropping heavily. These slingers trying to return fire into the slinger and just kill it off could be good, but there's still 2 more slingers to find, so that's sort of okay. Royal Spartans now getting engaged on these Thorax swords, getting good damage. They're getting peeled by the Tarentines, a useful, some good utility from these Tarentines. They don't have much cav to kill, so might as well peel the Royal Spartans, everything. But now these slingers must focus fire this. They must focus fire this one unit and just kill it off. You'll get maybe not rear shots, but somewhat rear shots. You're attacking into the rear as well with the Paroquet, so you can just route this unit here. This fight, again, going pretty well, but the Royal Spartans are starting to drop now. And that early Pila fire from the Thurios and Slinger fire from their own men even is not helping there. Samnite Warrior's gonna get double teamed by Spartan and Royal here, so that's good. Just sacrificing a Paroquet again, that's kind of fine as long as he can bust through the front line. And he's gonna bust through here, he's gonna bust through here, but with some casualties for sure. Tarentine's gonna get into the Slingers, which is not great because there were ample cavalry units to defend against this. But it looks like Ulda will counterattack on the enemy Slingers. There's just so few cav on the field that if Tarentines are getting behind, then your Tarentines can also get behind. The Slinger's just gonna die. This favors Ulda though, sorry, Asseror though. These Slingers are more valuable, I think, for Ulda. Royal Spartan's just getting in, doing a lot of damage. Again, the peel has been massive on these Spartans. Royal Spartan's though still full. Let's count the other. Where's the Gen? The General just making waves. Only lost 20 men. Already tired though. Should use that second win ASAP. These Royal Spartans tired. These Royal Spartans tired. This is not good. So, well, okay, the Thorax Swords are very tired though, so actually it's kind of okay. Net stamina, but you should be using those general abilities ASAP to keep yourself in the game. And it's still a very even fight, I think. Not much has changed. The fact that these Royal Spartans are killing off some of these swords is really good, but there are still more swords to kill. However, there are Royal Spartans left on the field, right? Now this general feels like out of place, right? Asseror needs, or Uldasar needs to try to collapse on these slingers, or the slingers are just going to have a field day killing Royal Spartans in the back. And Royal Spartans cannot be allowed to get shot in the back. They're just too valuable. That shitty slingers getting this many kills is just like unbelievably valuable, right? The general's kind of out of position though, so he's gonna get a good fight here against these Terrantines, but the Terrantines will at least allow these slingers to keep shooting. And again, Royal Spartans getting shot in the back or the right side, hugely important to avoid that. And this seems like GG honestly, because if he was just fighting only frontally, oh the thing is lagging out. Yeah, if he was fighting only frontally, it would be easier to keep his Royal Spartans alive. He's also forgotten about some of his cav, and these slingers are just having so much impact. This turn this turn 10 even kills off that citizen, so yeah, the slingers are just gonna kill too many Royal Spartans here. Um, Exhausted thorax swords though, they're gonna die quickly against fresh royals, but the rear shots are just too much against any unit really. Again, thorax swords dying here, so there's some Royal Spartans left, but they're gonna be tired, they're gonna be pretty weak, and these slingers are just getting so much value compared to the slingers um, of Ulda, which are not really getting all that much value, and he's losing the Turrentine fight. With the two citizens, I think he should have. This is what I would have done. I would have deployed both my Terrantines on the flank, like he did. I would have deployed both my citizens also on the flank and just pushed the flanks. Because he doesn't have enough cav, right? The citizens will help any missile cav fight be disastrous because they're melee cav. And there's only one Epeius Lancer, so you can just win the flanks and then threaten the slingers. You have 4 slingers of your own, and he only has 1 cav. Like only his general could try to penetrate and kill these slingers. But you had Periroque spears with javelins, right? So that wouldn't be a big threat if you wasted your general to do such a thing. So then, by pressuring the flanks, you can just take a straight up infantry fight, and then when the infantry are engaged, threaten to just like come in from the back, right, and just kill the slingers. While your slingers just have free reign, you could target the enemy slingers with your own slingers maybe if you wanted, or you can try to get better shots. But by dominating the flanks, you're in a really good position to surround a little bit more. Put pressure on the fact that he only has 1 cav that can actually fight in melee, and you have 2. Even if they're shitty citizen cav, they're so much better than Terrantines in melee. And now, yeah, it's just gonna go to shit when the general's dead here. The cav is still alive to clean up everything. There's enough swords here. Very healthy thorax swords. It's a close game overall, with the Royal Spartans living, but the cav has now shifted completely into the favor um, of Asseror, and this forgotten Tarantine cav will be a huge problem for getting that guy, because that would have been a crucial unit to potentially kill these slingers. Now the slingers, plus this Epeius Lancer general, it's still 51 men, and some remaining Tarantines are just going to clean this game up, so it will be 1-0 to Asseror, I would say with faction advantage, um, but yeah, I mean, you can see, like, if these slingers didn't get like 30-40 kills on the Royal Spartans, maybe more, and now they're gonna give him more, this would be an insanely close game. And also, if he wasn't as desperate to kill these slingers, Asser or Ulda probably would have held on to most of his cav, right? The Tarantines wouldn't have died as easily because they died trying to get to the slingers, and so did the citizen cav. So I don't know. I think you just focus fire the enemy slingers hard with your slingers and try to fight frontally. So if he's gonna shoot your infantry, it's gonna be from behind his own men, and meanwhile you're just pounding his slingers. Maybe focus fire two to one with your 4 Helot slingers on the 2 of the Greek slingers, and then from there you're in good shape, I think, because at that point, wow, at that point you've basically just won the battle, right? You've killed the enemy slingers, your infantry can fight frontally, you have dominance on the flanks with your citizen cav, your Tarantines, and yes, you could still win, of course, by just winning with the swords, but at least you're giving your Royal Spartans the optimal fighting opportunity. You don't want to give the Royal Spartans any more chance, any deficiencies in their fight. You don't want to take away any of their chances to fight and just clear melee. Clear melee, they might just win this out because they're so good. But when they're getting shot, their HP is going down, the Thurios got to them. Like, all these small things are gonna really gonna hurt you. And now, of course, the Lancer can just clean this up by itself pretty much. There are Royal Spartans fighting bravely, but they'll just die. So, a GG for the first game. Sparta putting on a decent show, honestly. And it's not a terrible faction in this pool 3 because it has good melee, infantry, has decent missile opportunities. Again, the Gorgos would have been huge as well. But it is outclassed by these factions that can just sword spam. Royal Spartans did good, but yeah, they need to get 200 kills each or something on swords to win this game. So maybe not 200, maybe like 160, 170 each, and they almost got there. but probably needs a little bit more. And again, just every health point that gets taken away by a slinger shot in the back is just devastating. And you got to try to not allow it at all costs. These Perioquai Spears got to do more to screen for the Spartans. But anyway, a good try from Sparta, but better faction. Nice use of the pikes as well to help delay those Royal Spartans from getting good engagements while he was shooting. And he actually had one alive at the end as well. So GG for the first game. Now we move on to game two. Um, it's now pool one. I think it's on pyramids. Saba, Boyai, Arverni, Tilis, Armenia, Parthia, Galatia, Mesacely, and Rome are the factions. Asseror now bans first, and he gets rid of Boyai and Saba. And it's on pyramids, remember. So every opportunity to take a good cat faction here. Um, so yeah, Boyai Saba. I mean, Saba definitely a faction you want to remove. I'm surprised of not removing. Well, again, Arcera picks first, right? So he can always pick Parthia. So he's leaving a Parthia and Armenia in there. If I'm Ulda here, I'm banning Parthia and Armenia straight up, right? Like, I'm not allowing those factions. Then Numidia becomes interesting because it's worse than the Barb factions, but it's deserts, so you're going to get that fatigue bonus, and that can be really big. But Ulda ends up banning Rome and Mesacely, so he's leaving Parthia on the board. If you pick Parthia here, your only counter is like either Tilis, Arverni, or Galatia, and none of those really sound good. Maybe Numidia you can pick, but that's risky as fuck. So I would just pick Parthia, but Asera goes Tilis, which is the strongest Barb faction on the board, because Rome and Boyar are gone, so it kind of makes sense as well. Ulda goes Galatia, so it's an interesting matchup. This is a very even matchup still. I think Parthia, though, probably was the pick. I don't think there's any point in not taking it if it's going to be on the board in a desert map, but you end up with an even matchup anyway, so it should be pretty interesting. Galatia against Tilis. And we are indeed on pyramids. Galatia will have some desert competent units, as you can say, in the form of the Javcav, the 390 Javcav, and the Syrians have resistance to heat. So let's look at his army again. 5 same, 8 melee, 4 Javcav, so he's 5 Galatian Legionnaires on the front line, 3 Galatian swords in support, makes sense. Goes for the 3 Syrians, as you should in this matchup. He's got some Levy Freeman spam, 3 Levy Freeman. He's got the classic 2 Kappas, 1 Noble Horse, very nice. And he has Galatian Raider and 2 Merc Horse Skirmishers. Yeah, I guess you don't need to go for 4 Javcav here. You know Tilis is going to have to go for it. But you have 3, that's fine. You have 2 melee cav. Tilis is probably not going to, or 3 melee cav, sorry. Tilis is not going to have 3 melee cav. So you're got a cav advantage, obviously. But infantry is going to be hard. On the side of Asseror, he has 3 Celtic Slingers up front. 3 Levy Freeman, it looks like. Tribal, tribal, tribal. Hopefully this is Oathorn tribal. He has 2 Noble Horse though, and he has 2 Celtic Warriors at least. We'll have to wait for him to get out of the forest there. He has 4 Javcav, and you can see start instantly taking advantage of the 2v1 here. And Ult's just gonna like reform to a better block against this. He can be more aggressive on the left flank because he has 2 versus 2 here. This Galatian Raider, the only good Javcav in melee combat for Galatia, whereas these 4 Raiding Horse are also all very good, sorry, in melee combat. But any Javs that are taken will be very devastating against these Raiding Horse. And against the Mercenary Horse Skirmishers with their low armor, but mostly against the Raiding Horse, obviously, since these guys have 41 damage. Let's wait for them to get out of the forest here. Long game, so that's always a good sign in some senses of being close. But it could also just be a lot of jockeying for position. Interestingly here, a question that I always ask is who wants to actually exchange jabs here? Because these Thracian Cav and Raiding Horse are much better in melee than anything that Asseror has. Okay, maybe besides the one Galatian Raider, but at the same time, these guys need their javelins against these 3 Cav more than the Raiding Horse need, than the Galatian Jav Cav need their jabs against these 2 Cav, right? So, not sure exactly who would rather, exchange javelins, because if you exchange javelins, you often miss a lot, right? And, obviously if you can hit them, great, but that's not really guaranteed. You're more likely to miss. And of course, these horse skirmishers are very useless in melee, whereas these Raiding Horse and Thracian Cav are good in melee, right? So it's okay if they run out of javelins, in the sense that they're okay in melee, whereas these horse skirmishers are useless when it comes to being out of javelins. But at the same time, these guys would rather have would need their javelins more against these cav than these guys need their javelins against these cav. Overall, I would say it's pretty equal. Both sides probably would like to keep their javelins, essentially. So there's not much of a point in trading in doing this sort of back and forth maneuvering because neither side really wants to get rid of their javelins. The horse skirmishers want to keep them for prime targets. Because they're so useless in melee, so if they run out of javelins, it's just pointless. And these raiding horse have more of a cav threat to deal with. Their job is going to be to counter these Cappadocians and noble horse and get as many javelins as possible on them. And here we're getting some exchanges. At least if you're going to exchange, you want to kill stuff. But again, because these raiding horse can always kill these guys in melee later, there's no real point for them to use their javelins on these guys, right? Like, they just want to waste the horse skirmishers' javelins. The horse skirmishers would like to waste the javelins of the raiding horse if possible, without wasting so much of their own javelins. But really, unless you can gain some kind of tactical edge and actually kill a lot of guys, which is always quite difficult, then there's not much to be gained by this exercise here. But the 2 versus 1, of course, you have an advantage, so you probably feel obligated to try to kill this unit, and then be able to put some pressure up, force Levy Freeman to turn, stuff like that. So I understand that. Over here, you can see both sides kind of accepting the draw. But here you can see, because he has 2v1, he waits for them to fire on the first unit, then he can bring his second unit very close, and he's actually winning this pretty heavily and doing good damage. 16 kills here compared to 10 and 24, so a huge advantage. Of course, it was 2v1, right? So you're always going to have a 2 advantage. And he's going to bait out maybe a javelin right here. Yeah, more or less baits out. I think that's totally acceptable. And now this guy's trapped and is going to die, so... Yeah, and just charging it in. Which maybe we'll call some friendly fire if anything, but nice win for the raiding horse of the left flank of the Asseror. And that's gonna be able, now you're good because you probably still have some ammo left, I mean most likely. And now he can go behind, he can go pressure. This unit is forced to turn over here. Now it's a 2v1 on the other side, right? Now you take the 2v1 on this side. So this was a really nice kill. Probably, you know, I would say shouldn't be allowed, but it is difficult. And these guys are tired, very tired, so these Galatian Raiders should seek to engage here. They will be faster, more maneuverable. They can get the damage on these raiding horse quite easily. They're already damaged by the Pula of the initial horse skirmisher engagement. It is 2v1 now on both flanks though, right? So you can be aggressive if you're Tillis. Get the positioning advantage, get the flank control, and he's trying to do that by also sending these infantry out to the flank as well, potentially looking to surround. Can we see there's an Oathsworn? So it's 4 tribals? I think it's probably 5 tribals, 1 Oathsworn, 2 Celtics, 2 Noble Sword Horse, 4... Yeah, sorry, there's 5 tribals, right? So 5 tribals, 1 Oathsworn, 2 Celtics. Not my preferred army. I think Tillis should just go 1 cav or no cav, besides the Jav cav, and just stack elite melee units and just rush. Not rush, but like, just try to engage. Because these Cappadocians are so expensive, and yes, if they're the only melee cap on the field, it's easier, but they're so expensive that getting Pula and stuff is just so bad. And if you have 3 Oathsworn, let's say, 3 Oathsworn, 3 Tribals, 2 Celtics, something like that, then you can just bully the Galatian Legionnaires with your Oathsworn, win the melee fight. Of course, Assyrians are going to be a threat, but that's why you have to use your Levy Freeman and your Jav cav effectively. Baiting out more volleys here as well, but it's okay. I mean, it's just one Levy Freeman volley. Everything matters though, so certainly acceptable. But now I should try to take the same engagement on this left flank, 2v1s around all the good stuff. But Asseror has eked out a pretty significant, I mean, nothing huge, nothing game losing, game winning or anything, but a significant advantage by killing 1 Jav cav for almost no cost. I mean, it's like 14 and 12, 26 losses for 60. It's a pretty good deal right there. Asseror's formation is sort of weird. I don't know. I wouldn't be rushing here yet while these guys are so far away. Get in line at least first so that you're rushing together. Because now these guys are not going to even participate in the battle. By the time they get over here with the desert heat, they're going to be tired, man. Like, they're going to be tired. They're not going to be ready to fight. And that will make your engagement a lot worse. So certainly not great. Engagement can continue, well, it can begin over here, but again, like, these guys are way too far, okay, he does realize, but what is this? Like, these guys are stacked up so far away, they need to get over there and engage. So Asseror probably realizes this is not the time to engage. I'm not really fully set yet, right? So no need to do that. Ulda has some good attack orders already going, trying to get this early engagement. This is going to be suicidal though.
Get running!
if he tries to actually commit here. I mean, Asseror should just turn around and peel him, yeah. See, do they get the peel though? Always a question. Yep, they will. So this is just a disaster. Like, losing only 5 guys, yes, but now another peel will come in, maybe. Not the best peel of volley, but a third peel of volley. Now you've lost 10 men to kill 50 Levy Freeman. Like, terrible trade. Syrians are locking in on tribals though. And again, there's a big overload on this flank, so I expect them to try to flank. Like, actually flank. Getting shot in the back by the Syrians, like, I don't know why you'd allow that either. Like, just take the fight. I'm not sure what you get by skirmishing here, except by maybe repositioning a little bit. But that early salvo is not even terrible, because losing 10 Cappadocians for those Levy Freemen is a good trade. The Syrians, though, any shots the Syrians get into the back is super valuable. They are missing a lot of them, but again, like, rear shots are going to be hard to come by in this game, so rear shots into the tribals will be certainly good. And I mean, just losing men for no reason here, like, there's really no reason to do this, just take the fight, I think is the common wisdom here. Now Ulda probably realizes there's no spears here, so he's just going to take this fight directly with his Cappadocian, lead the charge. Gonna take a good Pila, not even maybe? Yeah, not even gonna take a Pila. So really nice engagement here, but the Oathsworn and the friendly fire actually will be pretty significant. And some Pila from Slinger being close by. So the tribals only drop 4 men, so it's not really a big deal. You can get out of here before the game is over. Now he's in the forest here, again, probably a good place to engage, where you can't get shot super hard. But I'm not sure why Asseror is insisting on just running away. Just seems a bit unnecessary. He'll have a stamina advantage if he just stands and fight, because these guys are active and he's fresh. Yeah, or he'll be fresh by the time he rests here. Again, nice, gonna block the charge. Maybe not. So, gonna block the Pila at least, but gonna be a legionnaire charging into a tribal, so the tribal's gonna have the worst end of that stick. The Oathsworn are the key for this matchup. They need to get involved in these fights ASAP. Because the infantry is just better across the board. The Galatian swords better than the Celtics. Galatian legionnaires is much better than the tribals. Not much better, but significantly better. Which means, and there's also Syrians on the board, right? So he needs to get that Oathsworn involved, which is why I would take more than one Oathsworn. It's the only infantry advantage you can really garner, unless you're like Thracian warrior or something. Now the cavalry gonna get involved for Asseror though, and there's a nice charge into this blob, but he needs to follow up with the infantry before the Snow Horse start taking losses. These Celtics can look to get engaged now though, on this flank and just route a bunch of stuff here. But nice charge from the Noble Horse, very nice. These Cappadocians are a bit overextended again. The follow-up is not super close from the legions. And the Cappadocians are down to 20 men, so that Cappadocian's pretty much dead. Here he's gonna get a very nice engagement though. I mean, yeah, the Cappadocians have lost a lot of men, but this Noble Horse also has lost a lot of men. This Noble Horse is still full, however, and these engagements looking pretty good. This engagement good, this engagement good. Okay, Tribal Warrior actually going to do quite well because of that Noble Horse charge, but it was costly. And over here, yeah, okay, this engagement can be good because this Oathsworn can get in. So overall, pretty equal fight. Nice charge from this Noble Horse, but a bit too late to really affect this fight. Galatian Legionnaires will win, but there is Celtic support involved here, so that could really help. I mean, right here, right, it's 2v1 with this Celtic, and this tribal's facing down a Galatian sword, so they're going to win these fights on the flank. This Oathsworn can win over here as well. This fight is not going super great. These Galatian Legionnaires are super weak. These tribals are healthy, and you have a Celtic warrior here with no enemy Galatian swords in sight. However, there is reserves here. But I think you just take this side, you just dominate this side, you bring this cav around, the enemy general can't really, well, it could try to fight, he's 58 men, but you're going to have better support here with this Celtic. Jav cav behind, I'm trying to look for the other Jav cav, 3 Jav cav on this flank, sure. But you just abandon this flank, get your Oathsworn involved here. Let these guys win. I mean, you're going to win over here, so there's only going to be 2 Galatian Legionnaires that are winning if you quickly engage over here and dominate this side. Bring your general, bring the Javcav, kite here, surround with this Javcav. With these 2 guys behind, you can make a big impact. The Cappadocians, I mean, 40 men, 20 men, these guys are super weak. They're not going to really be a huge deal with these Levy Freemen still alive, and the Slingers as well. And you can also get some super nice right side shots here with your Slinger. Just bring it right here. Boom, boom, boom. Gonna do a nice job of kiting with this Galatian sword, actually, using the speed advantage. But it's just gonna get recharged, so in the end, not really great. Trying to use the Syrians to do something, but these Galatian swords are dropping super quick. Tribal Warriors can at least defend effectively against missiles. But okay, where's the Oathsworn? Oh, the Oathsworn decided to engage. Oh no! The General Fortilis is getting shot. Oh, the General Fortilis is gonna die, and this could change everything, because the morale for Tillis is gonna be absolutely short when the General dies. The #1 rule of Tillis warfare, never lose your General, because that guy's really important. Did he die? Did he die? He didn't die! What a lucky situation, I'm not gonna lie. General is safe with 10 men. So, you know, potential problem averted. And now you're winning here. You're winning here. The Syrians are still alive, but now look, the Thracian cav. Okay, they're exhausted, so these Galatian raiders actually just kill them. Not sure why the cav are so exhausted. They need to freshen up and get rested. But they're winning this fight on the flank. Celtic warrior, okay, gonna win. Galatian swords are gonna win. But now, again, big fight gonna happen over here. 58 against 55, so advantage for the general with the battle rhythm as well. They should be able to take this fight, but get support over into this fight. Yeah, I don't know why he didn't over-engage over here. I don't know why he went back towards the center, where the Syrians are going to be more impactful. If you just engage over here, you can only get left side shot from the Syrians or frontal shot, and then you can overwhelm this flank, and that would have been huge. But okay, these Oathsworn are busting through. They've already lost a lot of men, though. Getting focused down by the Syrians, as you'd expect. But okay, Tribal's winning here. Tribal's winning here. Tribal's okay, losing here, but this is a sort of a null fight. 70 against 70, very equal fight here. The general, though, gonna be hugely impactful here, and as well, these guys are winded, so this fight's very good. These Javcav need to get activated, but they're exhausted. You can't be exhausted. There's no reason to be exhausted. That's crazy. And this general being so weak is also terrible. Imagine if he was 40 men, 50 men. He could have been 50 men. He made that one nice charge here. Should have backed all the way out. He would have probably been like 50, 45 men if he focused with the Syrians really well. But that would have been sufficient. Now these Syrians just look like they have too much counterplay because the Javcav is so weak and exhausted that this one Galatian Raider actually can just kill all the enemy Javcav. Um, and now like the Syrians can just kill the remaining infantry and probably be fine. I mean, very close fight here, but Tribal's very tired. I mean, everything is exhausted because of the... Oh, and this is huge. He second winded this Galatian Legionnaire. Or it was like a fresh reserve, right? And so it was able to just walk in here and fresh is going to demolish this Tribal. And now this Cav has become victorious. 30 men, 28 men left in the unit. And the fact this general's dead and these Cav are exhausted is just absolutely devastating. You cannot forget about your Jav Cav needing to be rested up on these desert maps where fatigue is so important. Fatigue is just the #1 thing on these maps because it will take a bad fight and make it so good. Um, Finally, the Javka is just going to suicide in here to slow down the general, and it will do a good job of that, but it won't really get too many kills. These Javka are going to win, but because they're exhausted and losing, they're just going to rout. They're going to insta-rout pretty much. Even though there are 26 men, the general's only 22, so that fight would have been okay long-term with the Slinger Fire, but now it's just pretty much over. And because it's Javka, if Javka were just able to kill things, if they were fresh, they could kill the Syrians, they could kill the Galatian Raider, they could collapse, the general could collapse, and all would be good. All would be good in the world. But instead, it's going to be a sort of disastrous defeat. And now look at this Galatian Raider, gonna absolutely slaughter these Raiding Horsemen because of the fatigue difference. Actually, no, they're fresh, actually. These guys are actually fresh, so okay. They managed to get stabilized. So this fight will be actually kind of close, but their HP was worse. Now it's just one big Tribal Warrior and some good old Slingers. 3 Slingers and another Javcav, though. So it's not over by any means. If the Syrians were running ammo, for example, this Tribal Warrior could be sufficient. The General needs to try to second win, but he's obviously too scared to do so. Would get focused down. And yeah, this Galatian Raider now, a huge threat. Good fire coming in there, though. Gonna kill a few of them at least. 36 men against the combined 16 and 23. These tribals, or these Galatians are gonna fight these tribals here. It's gonna be a close fight again, but with the support of this general being able to second win, should be okay. So a very close fight, but now the Syrians can just run after the slingers. I mean, they're probably out of ammo at this point, yeah, but they've done enough. 83 with the chevron, 74 with the chevron. And these guys, 31, okay, they probably still have ammo, but they were getting so many kills in the noble horse on both sides, over here and of course the general, and that was just the key. That and not being able to freshen up the jab cab. As soon as the engagement was starting, just sit your jab cab on the flank and rest. Make sure they're fresh and then collapse on the rear lines. Because the melee fights weren't terrible, all things considered. I think he lost them mostly because the Syrians got too much impact. But that was because the jab cab, after winning the jab cab war, couldn't actually pressure the Syrians very hard because they were taking damage. They were exhausted, so any fight they were in was extra risky. I mean, there's not much left to do here. This Galatian Raider is super strong. There's infantry alive, so of course it will just be GG here. But yeah, very close game, but I think slightly mismanaged. The biggest mismanagement of all, of course, was the general just getting shot too hard by those Syrians. Well played there from Ulda, though, recognizing the opportunity and taking advantage. So a very close game, as we kind of expected, but yeah, on these desert maps especially, you gotta be careful about the fatigue. And yeah, in that case, he had to be careful with his general, and the noble horse just getting so owned by missile fire and then losing to the enemy noble horse. Cappadocian's not getting too much impact, but it was fine. The Jav Cap for Asseror did good at the start, but then they just blew it towards the end. He completely outplayed the horse skirmishers, but was not enough. And the Legions did good. Tribals did okay. Oathsworn, 89 kills, but it's just gonna always be focused. Which is why I wanted him to bring it to the right side and just engage all the way on the flank where maybe he could be a little bit safer from missile fire instead of in the center where it can just get hard focused. But overall, very close game. A few mistakes here and there cost Asseror, but it does mean that we get to go to a game 3, which is always good. So Pontus versus Massilia. Let's see how we got here. Uh, Final battle, week 2. So pool 2, Nervii, Getae, Iceni, Kush, Pontus, Swabi, Massilia, Carthage, Aravaki, Bactria, Ardeae, Epirus, and Lusitani. My favorite pool because there's so much opportunity for counter picks, for interesting matchups. The middle pool with the most factions as well. Asseror bans first, bans Nervii, no, Ulda bans first, he bans Carthage and Bactria. Decent play. I pretty much always, if I'm picking first, I'm always leaving Bactria and Pont, which are, in my opinion, the strongest factions, in the pool, or banning one of them, and trying to play the other one. So that's what Ulda's doing here, right? He's banning Bactria, so he's trying to play Pont. Asseror shouldn't allow it, realistically, but whatever. And then he bans Carthage, whatever, it's just a faction he doesn't want to face. Asseror goes for a Barbarian ban, so he says, I don't like playing against the Barb faction, so I'll ban Swabi and Nervii, being, in his opinion, the strongest barbarian factions, I guess, or maybe not the strongest barbarian faction. Maybe just he wants to keep the strongest barbarian factions in the play, right? Because if Ulda goes Pont, maybe he wants to go for a strong barb, but not the case because Ulda did pick Pontus, the right pick in my opinion, or the pick that I would make, and Asseror goes Massilia, which is a very very interesting counter pick to Pontus because it's not actually bad at all. So I'm quite interested to see how this will go. Think, yeah, but I think yeah, Massilia might be the best faction left to play against Pontus here. I would say that's potentially true. Maybe Epirus is also up there. But okay. So not a matchup, but we've seen very much. So this is good because it's good to see different things. So let's see how it goes. And Ulda goes for a very interesting army. The chariot. Side chariots are kind of like the worst chariot. But if you can get the peel out of the way, they can absolutely cook. Harder than almost any other chariot. It's just that any peel and it's just GG. So Ulda has 3 HA, and he has a cheap mid-tier spam, Haunting Swords, 5, 3 Celtics, 4 Cappadocians, the General, and the Chariot. No spears to speak of, and no missiles, foot missiles to speak of either, it's just a rush. Asseror has a nice cav spam. I like the army. He has Apaeus Lancer, 3 Apaeus Lancers, 4 Massilian Cav. I wouldn't take 4 Massilian Cav here. I would take 4 Lancers, because Massilian Cav are really going to do nothing against Cappadocians. They're just too good. There's 3 Tarentines on the field, which will hard counter the 3 HA. And then Massilian Thoroughspears, 1, 2, or maybe even 2 Massilian Thoroughspears, 3 Celtic Warriors, and 4 Axe Warriors with a Thorax Sword as well. So, better infantry for Pontus, better cavalry for Pontus, but just less of it. And then the Chariot as well. The 3 Lancers are devastating. And the Axis can put up a decent fight against the Pontic Swords, no doubt. But it's really going to come down to how does Asseror use his 7 cav against the 5 of Pont, and then he has 2 more infantry, the 2 Thurio Spears, and he also has the 3 Tarentines against the 3 HA, which is an advantage. So it's going to be interesting. The Thurio Spears end up being a great pick because they can just hard counter the Chariot. But realistically, all I think Asseror has to do here is just charge. Just charge, and then flank with a few units, and that's what he's doing. He's already spreading out to overwhelm the flank. He can pressure these HA with his cav, with his Tarentines, and then just keep your Massilian Thoroughspears to check the chariot, and then eventually you just surround with your cav and kill the infantry, and then it's pretty much just GG. But it's not trivial because the enemy cav is so strong. Your cav alone is just super weak. That's why he's spreading out with his infantry in order to get support there. Now the Cappadocians are going to instant charge these Thoroughspears. It's a decent idea because he can just kill it. Sure. Oh, hey, that, look how far the Cappadocians are going. Okay, they're turning around at the last moment here. We might get out of there without too many losses. Okay, 4 losses, that matters. But now the chariot is going to come in here. Um, it's a decent opportunity for the chariot to do something here because there's not a whole lot of javelin fire that will come in. But there's going to be a cav charge, which can do something, and now the axes aren't going to get a charge. The chariots are actually going to get good value here. Basilian cav are only medium, right? So the chariot can actually just go through them pretty effectively. And you can see now there's no Pula to stop this chariot from getting at least 3 unit kills. If it kills these 3 units, I mean, that's like a pretty good return. It already has 60 kills and a chevron. Not going to be losing men anytime soon. And it really needs that direct Pila volley. Like these Tarentines aren't really going to do enough. Now it's just going to come across the line. The Hippeus Lancers will be able to stick it in place pretty heavily though. Again, no, the Pila need to be here. The rush is coming in everywhere. Charges all over the fucking place. Gonna get some good engagements. Will Asseror here where these Lancers charge in, hit a Celtic Warrior, and now the infantry support is on the way. Rear charge coming in here, very nice. General hitting this. Onyx Sword will do decent damage. So these are good fights where he's getting a lot of good charges. But the chariot is potentially the key. Still has 135 kills now, and nothing to stop it. These Cappadocians are gonna say, I love a cav fight. Give me a cav fight all day. We'll just win that. And this fight, this side's probably gonna be in the favor of Asseror, but he's always forgotten the cav. He could really have used this cav over here, because now this Celtic Warrior is gonna get owned by a combo of a Citizen Cav and a Celtic Warrior. So actually, I had 3 Cappadocians and a Citizen Cav, my bad. Now these Lancers like, okay, I guess I'll charge in here, and I'll probably do something. But Ulda's just gonna bait the chariot. He says, I don't want the chariot to get the charge, to get hit by the charge, which is good. Although some of these Lancers are just chasing all the way. But that Cappadocian might still be able to hold this out in the long term. And now the General, Basilian Cav, getting owned. The infantry fight in the favor of Ulda on this flank, though not quite so much on this flank, although it looks like it's doing just enough. And yeah, I don't think this is going to be good. The chariot has already gotten too much value, killed the entire left flank, and now the center, the Massilian Cav General is going to fall, and everything should just fall apart here. So it all started with just getting a little bit exposed here, trying to run away from the rush instead of just meeting the rush. I think he had to pretty much meet, because if he tries to run away and he gets units caught like that, it can just snowball so quickly, because now you lost these units, now these units can't support, because they're getting charged, and all of a sudden the chariot was able to just take out ISO shit. That's where the chariot really shines, is against isolated units, where it can just 1v1 them, not get pilled. It can kill Cav, it doesn't give a fuck, it can kill Cav, because they're only medium. And look, 171, 2 chevrons on the chariot. I mean, it's killing these Cavs so quickly. I really like to see that, that's very interesting. You can see it just runs over them. They got the size, man, the size should cut down Cav. Absolutely. So the chariot gets insane value, basically. I mean, if the chariot gets insane value, you're just going to win the game. And that's what happens here, so Ulda will progress 2-1, a very close series. I mean, look, there's still shit left for Asera, but the chariot just gonna keep obliterating infantry units. It hasn't taken a single javelin volley, right? That's the crucial thing. It hasn't taken a single jav volley, so it's just gonna be able to survive so long when that happens. And that's what I said. If it doesn't eat jabs to the face, it is a very, very strong unit. It's just one mistake, one javelin volley allowed, and because the units can just pull off an engagement and jab it in the back, right? Like one mistake, it's GG. So it's very tough to pull it off. But in this case, it was very well played from Ulda, and yeah, they're just being insane kills. So a good old side chariot strat, and it worked out. I mean, it was well played from Ulda, the way he got the chariot into some good engagements, and then by the time, like, probably the last 100 kills are sort of just whatever, because the game was kind of over. But, yeah, using his better cav, oh, actually it was 4 kappas and a citizen, so he had a lot of cav. Only short a couple of cav, and once, like, 1 or 2 of these units don't get any value, it's just GG. Like, he needed to make sure, Asser, that he didn't allow his stuff to get charged, that he got good charge with the Lancers. But, look at this, like, 5 kills, 12 kills, 10 kills, that's 3 infantry units that don't get value. All of a sudden, the fact that he had 2 infantry units less doesn't mean all that much, and his quality was obviously much higher with the 5 Pontics. Pretty much no match for them on the field, and the Cappadocians as well, a match for any of these Cav. So although he had 3 Apace Lancers, the quality wasn't altogether much better, and then of course there's the Chariot, which just did a lot of work. So overall, a great series. Good games to both players. Hope you guys enjoyed. Not sure what more games I'll have to commentate from this season, but if there are other good ones, I'll make sure to bring it up. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Peace.